Hello, my name is Harriton Watko. Welcome to our program. We did the first part with Peter Wallace, Ado Pangilinan, and we also have Eric Sampang. While we have the two, Peter had to leave. We have Rene Azurin, who is beside me, who I'm asking to be the co-host, but refuses and does not want to ask the other two the questions because he wishes to be polite, being they're all from the academe. I think I spilled the beans, Rene. Now, let's go back to that business in the administration of what we can expect, expectations. My last question was, and Peter's a very strong-willed person, obviously, very strongly opinionated, and he feels very bullish about the Duterte management. Can we actually separate politics and big business? Isn't not one intertwined? I'll give you an example, the MRT, the airports, which are the two infrastructures we were talking about, the rails and the airports. I mean, are they not one and the same because political expediency brings the other into opportunity? For example, with the big oligarchy groups, such like the Zobels, which is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and of course the Salim group, or which is represented by a Filipino in this specific case. Is it not one against the other, and Manny Pangilinan coming out and saying, stay out of business? Rene, you've always professed that ever since about, I remember 6 years ago. There should be less government and small government and more different business. But can we really separate the two? Are they not a conflict of interest? For example, again, taking the rails. Hindi kaya kawawang Pilipino pagdating sa pagbayad natin ng mga pagbabayad natin sa pagsasakay sa tren. Mas mataas yan kasi private business na yan. Pero kinita yan sa gobyerno. Para nangyayari ngayon sa MRT1, di ba? After giving it to them with a promise to build the rail tracks to expand to Kawit, we have to give them 7 billion in return after they're earning 100 million on a daily basis. This is the situation. Your point.
Well, in that particular instance that you cited, the problem is the deal negotiated by government with the private entity. That's the problem. Many of these are actually sweetheart deals, because they may be a crony, they may be close to certain powers that be, and so the deal is stuck in favor of the private entity. But there should be no problem if government is negotiating with the public interest in mind.
But the public interest is addressed properly because one, they have the capital, they have the know-how, they have the competence, they have the experience, they have the perception of the Filipinos knowing, in general, the public knowing that these guys can actually do a good job. I mean, if it's one thing the Zobels are known for, it's competence, di ba?
Well, the starting point would be you're dealing with people who are competent in that particular
but can we separate the politics? Because if it's a sweetheart deal, can Duterte actually know the difference between
if it is a transparent bidding, for example, typically in infrastructure projects like that, the bid is what is the fare that you will charge, diba? What are the inputs you will make? What is the fare you will charge? As long as the bidders are all competent in that field, and it's a transparent bidding process, you can typically get the best deal for the public.
But are we used to proper bidding in this country? Pagka alam ko,
well,
we have bidding, but it's not true.
No, but
yeah. Diba? That's the problem. So we're talking of apples and oranges when we don't even understand the concept of bidding. Diba? In the last 6 years, we've seen how that's all gone bad.
Well, that's why we have a new government. And I am hopeful that this particular government will be transparent, will act in the public interest.
Do you believe Duterte will be able to handle big business, considering the strength, the authority, and the influence these guys hold, considering the big monies that they keep in their pockets?
I think what
Peter says,
I think what we've seen
no problem,
so far
he can handle it.
We can be hopeful with what we've seen so far. Of course, we have to see. I mean, he's not in power yet, but I think from what we've seen, he looks like he's the kind of leader who can.
What Ado said a while ago is Duterte is full of common sense, and that I think will equip him.
Is that enough to actually be? When we put a man, a CEO, and now they're talking in the Economist. I remember just this week, the strongest person now in big corporations is no longer the CEO; it's the CFO, who's emerging lately to be higher paid. Actually, it's interesting how that's evolved. But is common sense enough? do we put chairman of San Miguel or chairman of the biggest companies around the world? Do you put common sense, or do you put someone with competence, with education, with a PhD, with a master's degree, with an experience, a sound family, that sort of thing? All of these are taken into consideration before one becomes the leader.
Well, his official family is not yet finished.
The cabinet, you mean?
The cabinet, yeah. He's still staffing.
So far,
this.
so good.
He's still staffing this. It will really depend on how it, as a whole, will look.
But does the leader need only common sense? I'm not dissing Duterte. I like what I've heard. I like his passion. I am for death for criminals. I'm death for corruption. But is that all it takes?
There's another thing about him. His law. His understanding of law. And I think quietly...
Retribution, he said out this morning.
No, but quietly I think there is a fear of law behind his back. That he himself would not do what his predecessor has done. To play with the law. And I think with his age and with his health, I think he'd think doubly before he goes into any foolishness. There's this tendency with this guy to be serious,
but I'm
and
sure,
like wanting to deliver a last hurrah. I feel that. I feel that when he talks.
President-elect Duterte, and soon will be calling president in 2 days, realizes that the incompetence of the judiciary as a whole. I mean, ang judiciary natin is in a total mess.
Yes.
We don't have enough judges, we don't have enough anything, courthouses,
Harry,
much less the corruption, and the 100 years it takes to resolve anything.
Harry, the 5 pillars of our justice system is in a mess.
Yes.
From the arresting to the prosecution, to the convicting, up to the incarceration. Gulo-gulo.
Hindi kaya unahin niya muna yung mga husgahan ng mga tao, hudikatura, kesa negosyo. Sabay-sabay dapat gawin yan,
Yeah, that's right.
Hindi pwede.
Pero may check and balance dyan.
One thing about Duterte is that he knows the law. He's been a law enforcer. Abogado.
Fiscal eh.
At saka, one thing about him is his consistency. He's a phenomenal...
It is. Phenomenal candidate talaga, yeah. Phenomenal.
He doesn't owe any indebtedness to political groups. No? In fact,
that's a
before
plus.
the election, before the election, he refused some. And I suspect one of them is the representative of... Anyway, so in this case, he can go to war without mincing words, or, he owes nobody nothing, sabi nga nila, no? So he can afford he can take independent course of action. The former posturing of being so, knee-jerk reaction to the United States, to, sa kanya, he doesn't even owe them a debt of gratitude, because he ran noticeably without
money.
support, no? So I think he can, aside from his being commonsensical, no, he has no indebtedness, he has no burden, he has no luggage to carry. So we can trust that he can make decisions for the interest of the people, saying what is good for the people. He has mentioned it more than once that yung ating fiscal stability, is something of great concern to him. The sense of justice, he says too much TRO makes a lot of people rich.
Nilabanan niya.
Yeah. So these are indications of what is to come. He can be independent. He can look at things in a very independent manner.
Ikaw rin hindi boto ka doon? Do you agree with that situation? Do you agree that a person with a common sense approach towards, at least he does have an understanding of law. I mean, abogado after all. No? I mean, registered IBP yan, a lawyer. But the competence and what we see, okay ba? I mean, he qualifies.
As I said, I don't know Mr. Duterte, no? But from what we've seen so far, it seems to me that he's on the right track. No? Now, insofar as what Adu was saying about the justice system, I think that I've always said, and I've written this, that the justice system should be the priority. No?
Yeah.
And you're talking here of law enforcement, judiciary, and the corrections. No? All of these should be fixed. No? I have no problem with the death penalty. No? But we should fix simultaneously the justice system because we want to ensure that the right people get hung. No? I mean, if you're going to hang people, you better be sure. And it's not only the poor who will be...
It's quite easy. They're still in Malacanang. If we just put a net around it now before
Okay,
Thursday,
or Congress.
nahuli na natin. Oh, di ba?
Congress.
Congress as well. Let's go.
Easy, ha?
Go ahead.
Yung Congress, okay na yun.
Sige, sige. Marami ka na mahuhuli doon.
We have seen a lot of, killings, so to speak, of drug pushers, drug users, and all. Some people even preempting the law enforcement, saying, "Yeah, we'll surrender." But until we see the big time, who are now in the
the big
NBP suite, Muntinlupa, get hanged in the middle of the night, then we...
Oh, no. Tama si Rene. We have to put the net around Batasan. Andun sila, yung mga big time. Di ba? Yung mga big time. Saka yung pinaka-big time, nasa Malacanang. So, wag na natin palabasan sa neto, di ba? You were saying. Go, continue sa justice system.
No, we should, the effort should be exerted to fix this. No? While, I mean, as I said, I have no problem with the death penalty. No? I believe in retribution. No? But we should ensure that it's not only the poor and the small time that get incarcerated or hanged. No? Because if you have money here, unang-una you can pay the law enforcer so that he will muddle the evidence. Lusot ka na. You can pay the judiciary so that the trial is dragged for 20 years. Nothing
Actually, you don't
happens,
have to pay the judiciary. You just leave it by itself. It will drag for 50 years.
Yeah. So,
Di ba parang ganun eh? You don't have to do anything. It will drag anyway. Di ba?
so you have to fix the case congestion,
Ayan.
the systems and procedures, the more courts, better training for the prosecutors, better training for the law enforcers, and all of this should be done simultaneous to, or at least as a priority, no? And not only just imposing the death penalty. Fix this whole thing because the justice system, I think, no, is the...
So, it's a holistic approach. Hindi pwedeng one or two items na ipupush
No, as far as
mo.
the justice system is concerned, no, I'm not worried yet about I'm saying this should be a priority.
No, even
Because-
before the death penalty, unahin
Well,
muna
you
natin
can-
yung justice system as a whole.
Because the real deterrence is the certainty that they will be caught. And the certainty that a congressman who takes kickbacks or who peddles influence will go to jail. Right now, they're malalakas ang loob kasi they know they will not go to jail.
But, well, Duterte's really making a lot of threats at this point. He says it straight out. This is a threat. I will kill you. I hate criminals. I will kill you. I hate drug people. I will kill you. I mean, that's not a threat. That's a direct...
Promise.
Yeah, it's a promise. It's a direct remark, di ba? It's hindi na threat. Talagang papatayin kita. But maybe that is good. But yung the common sense approach, his passion, the will of the people, obviously has the majority vote. Sakay naman sa kanya lahat eh. Pag sinabi niya yung gano'n, nakita mo, sisigawan lahat eh. There is in agreement in taong bayan. Kasi pikon na lahat eh. Sa kabalustugan naririnig natin sa Malacanang, di ba? At wala nangyayari.
May resonance.
May resonance. This morning lang, yun naririnig sa Davao lang yun eh. I mean, I felt I was there. Okay eh. Kaya lang, can he actually stand up to the powers that are? Di ba? Alam mo, ibang babanggain mo ang PLDT group. Ibang babanggain mo the Go Kong Way group. Di ba? Kaya lahat yan, sabay-sabay, babanggain mo. Tsaka yung ako nagulat ako sa mga kabinete ni Noy. Ang yayaman pala lahat nila, no? Naglabasan yung mga kayamanan eh. Yung palang, that's quite a formidable group. Much more the others who have billions in accounts. Di ba? Ito mga hundreds of millions pa lang itong kabinete niya, eh yung mga bilyonaryo talaga. Sasabay ang kalalabanan. Kaya ni 72-year-old man like Duterte. But then again, like you said, the power of the people are behind him, so he has a stronger power. As Pete, you agree with what Peter said earlier?
What did he say?
Doon yung sinabi niya, but ang tapang ni Duterte, his ammunition, so to speak, his armament, is he has the majority of the people behind him. And he's got
I think
the
that's
biggest budget, which is called the budget of the country. You're talking 3.5 trillion.
No, I think the endorsement by
The people.
18 million or so voted for
16.
16 million.
Si Drilon yung 18 million na may ano siya, vote rich siya. Siya yung pinakamatapang si Drilon. Siya ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. 18 million siya.
Yun ay manipulated count.
Well, with the help of smart mathing. Ang galing nila eh.
Si Drilon pinaka-high-tech.
Oo, di ba? Hate tech.
Yeah.
But being in that situation, I guess, so we were all in agreement. Rene, are you in agreement with us that we have everything to look forward to? And
I think
think
so.
business with the Duterte government will be positive.
Well, I think he deserves a chance, and it looks like this is the kind of leader that we
Require.
have been looking for a long time.
Nga. We're at the end of the show. Ado, what would be your exit spiel to the viewers?
I guess even if the media would not give him his honeymoon, I think the people, you see, this election is very unique because before these elections, we were talking about a revolution through the bullet, the possibility. But what happened was a revolution through the ballot, I think, and the people voted for Duterte. It may not be a majority, 16 million, but what I was saying was come June 30, noon of June 30, whether we like it or not, whether we're part of the 16 or the whatever million else, 104 million will have a new president. And I think we ought to give him not only our biggest support, because this just might be the last reform-minded or revolutionary sounding chief executive we're going to have, with the tooth of a tiger at that, you know.
Thank you. Eric?
What can we say of the change? The change is most welcome. This is the change that we've been wanting to get for many years now. So it came as a surprise and so fast. People were staggered by the haste that this change has become. It's true, it's not by bullets, but by ballots. And for this reason, I think Duterte deserves a chance to prove himself. He set for himself a deadline, 6 months to get rid of this, to accomplish the following. So I feel that that we have passed through an election, a very contentious election, that we should set aside politics for now, and let's work together and pray together, because you know what this president applied for is a job that not too many people would be able to do, though there were some who wanted to try their luck, no? But Duterte deserves a chance. He has the backing of the people. You know, 16 million is nothing to cough about. They have spoken. We'll listen to them and give him a chance to prove himself. And for what we have seen, it's really very encouraging. Mistakes that he makes before swearing in are mistakes that normal to beings like us. So we look forward to a change, to a positive change, and let's thank God that He gave us a man who is willing to take the dirty and difficult job to do. You know, this is really, we may differ with him on some certain issues, but you know, we're in a crisis. And in a crisis situation, there is some drastic action to be taken, like a surgeon on the operating table. He has to cut if he has to cut. You know, we can't spare blood when blood is needed to save the patient. We were in an ICU situation before, and now there's a little bit hope that we can get out of the ICU and get to the normal room, and then a few days recover and on with the life. Move
Okay.
on with life. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Eric. Rene, you exit spill. Co-host ka ngayon, ha?
Well, the boast of the current administration is the high economic growth rate. But as I've always said for years, that is not the real measure of progress, because the GDP is a very flawed metric, and as we have seen, you can have a high growth rate, whereas even if the bulk of the people are not benefiting from said growth. So I think I am hopeful, based on what Mr. Duterte said, that the policies that will be adopted by this administration will be more inclusive, in the terms of, because let's just not focus on economic growth rate. That's a faulty and flawed metric. And we should implement programs that benefit the less fortunate.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as we end, we'd like to thank you for watching, staying with us, and listening to our discussions. Ako, ang take ko lang dyan at the very end is ang Yellow Army, laos na kayo, tapos na kayo, matulog na kayo, umalis na kayo. Alam mo, iba na ang dumarating ngayon, ang kulay ay hindi na makulay. Diretsuhan na, at ngayon lalabas na yung kasinungalingan at kung ano man nangyayari. Tapos na ang dilaw. Tatlong araw, kukulayin na yan. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang bagong presidente.
Amen.
Salamat po.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you. We have to sit.
You are what you watch.